Hey everybody! If you've ever had that really bad lower back pain, it changes everything. Well, today we are going to get right into the heart of the matter, focusing on a really critical part of the spine, that L4-L5 segment. We're going to look at why it's a problem spot, what surgery does to fix it, and maybe most importantly, the powerful role you can play in your own recovery. So why this one little area? Why all the focus on L4-L5? Well, check this out. A staggering 95% of all lumbar disc herniations, they happen right there, at either L4-L5 or the level just below it. So yeah, this is pretty much ground zero for a whole lot of back issues. Understanding this spot is absolutely key. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into why this spot is under so much pressure. Then, we'll see how surgeons step in to relieve it. After that, we have to talk about the crucial trade-off this creates when it comes to stability. And then, we get to the good stuff, how you can rebuild and recover with a clear, actionable plan. All right, let's get right into it. What is it about the L4-L5 segment that makes it so special, so prone to causing problems? Honestly, it really all boils down to simple physics and mechanics. Think about it. The L4-L5 has this incredibly tough gig. It has to support the immense weight of pretty much your entire upper body. But at the same time, the joints there are designed to give us a ton of mobility, letting us bend forward and backward. So you've got this combination of heavy lifting and lots of movement, and that, right there, is the perfect recipe for wear, tear, and injury. Now, when something like a herniated disc or what's called spinostenosis starts pinching the nerves in that area, oh man, the pain can be off the charts. And that's usually when surgeons step in with one main goal, to simply make more room. And really, that's the whole point of these surgeries, to literally go in and create more space. By carefully removing the bit of bone or ligament that's pressing down on those nerves, a surgeon can take away that painful compression and just give the nerves some breathing room to finally heal. So how do they do it? Well, there are two common approaches you'll hear about, a laminectomy and a laminotomy. You can think of a laminectomy as the bigger job, kind of like a major renovation, where they remove a whole section of the vertebra for a wide open decompression. A laminotomy, on the other hand, is much more like keyhole surgery. They just remove a small window of bone to get the job done, which, preserves more of the spine's original structure. Okay, but this is so important. Creating all that much-needed space, well, it comes at a price. There's a trade-off, and it's a big one. Stability. And this brings us to this really important term, idiotrogenic instability. It sounds super technical, right? But it's actually pretty simple. Idiotrogenic just means it's caused by a medical procedure. So in this case, the very surgery that fixes the nerve pain can, by removing those structural parts, also reduce the spine's natural stability. I love this analogy because it makes it so clear. You've solved the immediate problem, right? The tangled sail or the pinched nerve is now free, but in the process, you've weakened the support system that holds the whole thing together. The mast, your spine, is now just a little more wobbly. And we actually know from biomechanical research what makes this risk go up. It makes sense, right? The more extensive the surgery, the bigger the potential for instability. A laminectomy carries more risk than a laminotomy. Operating on both sides of the spine is more destabilizing than just one. And of course, the more levels you operate on, the more you affect that core structure. In fact, the research gets super specific, identifying these critical thresholds. For example, for a key stabilizing part called the medial facet joint, studies show that if you remove more than, say, 45 to 50% of it, you start to see a significant jump in instability. Same goes for another area called the pars, where removing just a quarter of it can dramatically increase the stress on what's left behind. Okay, so that might sound a little daunting, but here is the good news. This is where you get to take the wheel. So if surgery has to reduce that passive, bony stability of the spine, how do we fix that? Well, we build a new kind of stability, an active, functional one. See, the solution isn't really about the bones that are left. It's all about what you build around them. It's about creating what's often called a muscular corset, this strong, dynamic network of muscles that actively braces and protects your lower back with every single move you make. So when we talk about a smart recovery plan, it is not just about doing random exercises. It's incredibly targeted. The goals are simple but powerful. We need to wake up those deep core muscles. We need to build strength in the glutes to give the pelvis a solid foundation. And then we have to retrain our bodies to move in new, safer ways with that support system. All right, enough theory, let's get practical. I'm going to walk you through 2 foundational exercises that are just perfect for this. They look simple, but believe me, when you do them right, they are absolute game changers. First up, the bridge. And right away, I have to say this. So many people think this is a back exercise. It's not. The entire point of a proper bridge is to fire up and strengthen your glutes. And why is that so important? Because strong glutes create a stable pelvis, and a stable pelvis is the key to a happy, supported lower back. So here's how you do it properly. You're on your back, knees bent. Now, before you move, I want you to focus on just squeezing your glutes. That squeeze is what should lift your hips up. Don't use your back to arch up. You're aiming for a perfectly straight line from your shoulders to your knees. Hold that powerful squeeze, then lower back down super slow and with total control. Okay, next up is the bird dog. And this one is just brilliant. Why? Because it trains your core to do its most important job, which isn't creating movement, it's preventing it. It teaches your body to lock your spine and pelvis in a solid, neutral position while your arms and legs are moving around it. And the secret here is slow and steady. It's all about control, not how high you can lift your arm or leg. I want you to imagine you have a full glass of water sitting right on your lower back. Your only job as you slowly reach your opposite arm and leg out is not to spill a single drop. That forces all those deep core muscles to kick in and do their job. And please remember this, the goal isn't to crush a workout, it's to be consistent. As physical therapists will tell you, gentle, regular movement is what builds real resilience. You don't need to spend an hour in the gym. 10 focused, quality minutes a day will make a world of difference over time. All right, so let's pull this all together. What are the big takeaways here? First, decompression surgery works wonders for nerve pain, but it comes with that stability trade-off. Second, we have research that helps us understand and even measure that risk. But third, and most importantly, you have the power to counteract that by building your own functional stability, that amazing muscular corset through smart, consistent movement. Which really just leaves us with this one final thought, this question for you to think about. A procedure might change the architecture of your spine, sure, but that doesn't define its future. The real question is, can you take this as an opportunity to build a foundation of strength that's even more resilient than what you had before? Because at the end of the day, true, lasting stability, it isn't just bone deep. It's something that you build yourself, one smart, controlled movement at a time.